Morning. So leaf season in my area is just kicking off. We had a storm come through last night and it knocked some leaves down. We've had leaves kind of steadily falling off of the trees for the past few weeks. Mowing season is tapering off. A lot of people are getting the end of season notices, and we're going to be jumping into leaf removals. So what I've used it for the past 3 or 4 years, I think now, is a Cyclone Rake. And it's a great option for kind of new guys that are getting into the industry that can't afford to have a separate trailer for leaves, or can't afford one of the big debris loaders that goes on the back of the truck or the back of a trailer. This is a good option, and I've been using it for all of leaf season, so it's a good sturdy machine. I'm just going to show you what it is. It does come in some pieces, so I'm going to show you how to assemble those pieces today. This piece right here is called your mower deck adapter. That's the part that actually goes on to the side of your mower deck. I'm using it on a Cub Cadet Z-Force. So that mower deck adapter goes on the chute of your mower deck. And then you've got your main tube that goes from the mower deck adapter to the engine. And here's the engine setup. This particular model is the Z10, I believe. It's the biggest, baddest machine they had. It's got a 10-horse engine that turns the impeller, so the curved end of your tube hooks right up to here. And it's pretty nice because they've got buckles on each side that come over and buckle onto these hooks. And then on the inside, you've got an impeller that 10-horse engine turns. Once it sucks up the leaves and gets them into there, it then throws it out of this chute into the bag, which is on this like trailer frame, and that holds it all. So I'll do a time lapse showing you kind of how to set it up, and we'll get to rolling. Now, when you get a Cyclone Rake, when it gets shipped to you, it's going to show up in 7, 8, 9 different boxes. So when the UPS truck pulls up in front of your house, they're going to need to make multiple trips. And there are some modifications, slight modifications that you have to make to your mower in order to get this to bolt onto your mower and work. So on the side of your mower, there's going to be this little plate right here that you have to bolt on. And then it's got these bolts that come up through it. There's one there, and then there's one right here next to it. They just pull up through there, and that is what holds on to the bracket on your mower deck adapter. And then there are some thumb screws that screw down on top of it so that it's adjustable. And then the other modification you have to make is you're going to get a hitch adapter. So this, I don't remember if I had to drill the holes for the bolts or not. Ignore all of this. That's not part of it. That's just a homemade striping kit that I made years ago. But you're going to have to bolt on this hitch adapter, and that's what the ends of the kind of the trailer bolt onto. And it's a 2-point hitch. So it doesn't pivot like a normal trailer with a single point that it hooks up to. It hooks up one side on this side, one side on this side, so it's a rigid trailer. And so you've got to make sure that when you're using it, that you keep that in mind. Whenever you turn the mower, you've got that trailer swinging around behind you. So if you're going to be right next to a house, you need to be very mindful of where the back end of that trailer is. Or if you're going underneath a tree, you need to make sure that you know where it is. That way you don't hit stuff. Alright, so we're going to start with the mower deck adapter. This comes as kind of one solid piece, and you've got to put it up against your mower deck and trace the lines of the opening on it, and then you've got to actually cut this section out to make sure that it fits on your machine. But you just take it, put it on top of here, pull these bolts up, And then these are the thumb screws that you get with the Cyclone Rake. They just thread right onto these bolts. And you want to make sure that as you're using this machine, that you look down and you check on these, because through the vibrations and the bumps, they will loosen up. And I have had them sometimes fall off without me noticing, and then they're just somewhere in the lawn. So you spin those on, kind of adjust this to where you need it, to where that opening is fully lined up with your chute. And then you just tighten those down. Make them nice and tight. Now your mower deck adapter is attached. Alright, then up next, we're going to put on the frame. This is the piece that everything is carried on. The engine goes up front, the big collection bag goes in the back, and it connects with these two pins right here. These pins will have cotter pins on them, and they go through the holes on each side of your hitch. Get one lined up, put it all the way through, line the other one up, get it all the way through. Now, one thing to keep in mind as well is your cotter pins, or whatever kind of pins you want to call these. These likely will bend on you. Just through the use, they turn, they'll get stuck on stuff, they might, or it might just be because I have that homemade striper kit on there. But mine have bent, so I keep some spares around. That way if they fall off or if they bend, I've got a spare. Well, once you get those pins, get these pins through here, I stick mine all the way through the hole. I don't stop at that first notch. Alright, so those are locked in. Then, these engine screws, I keep them just in here, in their slots on the frame. That way I don't lose them. These are what is going to hold the engine onto the frame. They're just knobs with some threads. They go through the engine bracket and bolt it to the engine. So let's get this engine and put it up on there. It does have, it has a handle over here and a handle over here. You want to put it chute facing backwards, engine on your driver's side, and you've got to lift it up and set it on top. Now this thing is on casters, so if you need to move it around the shop, you can pull it and move it wherever. But it is a little heavy, so just be prepared for that. Just set it down on the frame, and you'll line up your holes, and that's where one of those bolts goes, and then the other one is right down here. So then you take your engine bolts, slide them down in there, twist them in. Kind of shimmy it wherever you need to get it to line up. And these are another thing that you want to check throughout the day when you're using this machine, is just with the vibrations. These engine bolts can vibrate loose. You just crank them back down and you're good to go. Up next is going to be the collection bag on the back. And the collection bag has a few hooks on it that will hook over this piece and this piece, because this thing does dump, which makes things quite easy if you've got somewhere to dump the leaves. So you can fold it all up for storage, but you line up those two hooks on the bottom, drop them on. There's no pins or bolts or anything on that. You pull out this little pin, and you've got this kind of retainer that hooks onto a pin on the bottom, or a little post, whatever you want to call it. Stick your pin in there, and that's what that is for, so that you can dump this thing. When you're using it, it'll just be sitting down normal, but then you can undo the Velcro and the doors on the back and actually pick this thing up, lock it in place, and then you drive off and it dumps the leaves out for you. So hook those up, drop that down. Raise this side up, this side up. Then there are some stabilizers on the side here to support the bag, to support the sides. So there's one over here, and then there's the same thing on the other side. So once you get both of these front supports in place, to support the front of it, don't forget to hook up your bag to your chute. And these buckles are real easy to do. Pull the ring back, flip it up over that hook, and clamp it down. And there's one on this side as well. Hook it over, clamp it down. Then for the backside support, there is a support bar. There's a hole over here and a hole over here. They line up with the little nubs. Put one nub there, push it out. Put the other nub in the hole, and then you tighten up the clamps on the bottom of the bar. So the front side supports support the front, and then this keeps the back of the bag spread out. Now from here, there are Velcro doors. This is good, sturdy, heavy-duty Velcro. It does also have clips. I never use them because I've never had the bag come out without the Velcro, so no big deal. I usually start at one side and work my way across. So there's Velcro on this flap, Velcro on this flap. Get it started. Just work your way down. Smushing it all closed along the way. That part's done. Then you take your side doors. Now the side doors do have a little patch of Velcro on the corner that will Velcro to a piece on the side of the bag just to keep them over and out of your way when you're unloading the thing. But it has a strip of Velcro across the top. Put that on there. Take your other bag. Now it has a Velcro strip across the top and along the side that Velcros it to the top of the bag and to the other door to kind of seal it up. Velcro that. Push it up along here. There are buckles on this flap as well. I never use them because they just kind of get in my way. Then, once you're done with all of this, you can attach the tube to the machine. So it'll hook to the mower deck adapter and to the engine. So put your flap up. I usually start on this side. There's a buckle on the left side, the top, and the right side. Start with the top buckle, just to hold it in place. Right side, or left side, backside. Then over on this end, it's got a buckle on each side, and it's got these little notches right here to line up with a notch in the housing. One buckle, two buckle, flap down. Then you get your gator blades on your mower. They will grind up the leaves and they'll throw them up into the chute. Well, this 10-horse engine has a lot of suction. So it will then suck the chopped leaves up the tube into the impeller, chop them up a little bit more, and then throw them up the chute into the bag. And it does have this screen on top for airflow. They do send it with a brush. That way you can get some of the grass or clogs out. I generally just kind of smack it and everything will fall out. But as you're going along, dirt and dust and particles will come out of the top here, so it can get a little messy. You want to blow off the neighbors' cars or customers' cars because they'll get a little dusty. But there is how to set up each piece of your Cyclone Rake, and then when you're done, I leave it in this configuration all leaf season, that way I don't have to mess with it. I just back it on into the bay and I leave it. That way I don't have to mess with it. But when the season's over, you reverse all of those steps, take it all apart, it'll fold down, and then you can just store it over out of the way. They do make some hooks that you can put on the wall to hang the bag on the wall, just to keep it up out of your way. And there's a bunch of different models of this. I think they've got 7 or 8 different models that have like a 5-horse engine or, you know, smaller impellers, smaller tube size. That, I believe, is a 10-inch tube. And then there are other accessories you can get for them that will get your yard nice and cleaned up. It's a good sturdy machine. Like I said, this is the Z10. This is the biggest, baddest one that they had at the time. I don't think they've made any more that are bigger than this one. But the total cost of all of this, I think I paid, a lot of times they have deals for free shipping or money off. Check throughout the years. I just Google Cyclone Rake and this website will come up, or you can go to woodlandpowerproducts.com. I've never been sponsored by them or anything. That's just if you want to get one, that's where you get it. Woodland Power Products, and they've got a few different, different tools and whatnot and that they offer on there. But you can get replacement parts for this from them. And when I bought this, I think it had free shipping when I bought it, because throughout different times of the year, they'll have different deals for this much off or free shipping. And I think the whole thing shipped to my door was, I think it was around $2,800, $3,000, and that's for the biggest, baddest machine they got. So it's definitely a good option. And the nice thing about this machine versus the bigger company setups is this will pick up the leaves where they lie. And so that's pretty nice, especially if you can have somebody on a blower at the same time that this machine is going around. It makes leaf cleanups fast because you don't have to blow from the backyard all the way to the front. If you can get this thing through the gate, it makes it really easy. But even for front yards, it picks everything up where it is, because if you start blowing all the leaves, it really fluffs them up and makes them a big pile. This, you go along, it chops them up, sucks them into the bag, and just leaves a nice clean trail behind you. So if you're thinking about doing leaf cleanups, this is definitely a good option. I've really enjoyed it for the past, I think this will be the 4th or 5th season that I've been using it. And that's using it commercially, so I'm out daily using this thing, running it for all kinds of hours, and it's held up really good. You just got to keep an eye on your bolts, because it does vibrate a lot. The thumb screws can loosen, the engine bolts can loosen from the frame. So you just keep an eye on those things, and that's about all I got. I'll do some other videos about showing how it looks when you're using it, and so you can see the results on that. So I'm gonna get back to work. Y'all be good.